everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fashion Grunge Podcast. I am your host, Lauren.
And I'm Jai.
What's up, everybody? We're so excited. We're going to talk about Nowhere today from Gregg Araki, because the last one we did the Doom Generation, and we said we were going to do this one next. So I'm super hyped to hear your thoughts on this one.
Yeah, it's actually quite cool that we've done two films by the same director, like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, we should have done the full trilogy, I guess.
We should have, yeah.
But these two are like the big standouts, and you can definitely see like the production from how Dune Generation was to how this one is. Like you can tell it's like super, like more ramped up. Anyway.
Yeah, no, totally, you can see that.
It's super cool. But how's it going in your world? I'm trying to keep this somewhat current, so I'm trying to so everybody knows we're in July right now. So it's the 16th today. So yeah, what's been going on? What are you up to?
What have I been up to? Just kind of doing some work, really. I feel like most people have gone back to work.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people have. It's more of a, I don't know, going back to your normal routine sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know, really.
I feel like we're at a half and half point. It's like some people are still kind of in lockdown in their homes, and then some people are out, working and doing regular stuff.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't really feel like quarantine anymore, but
no, it doesn't.
It doesn't, but I feel that, I haven't done anything fun recently, to be honest. So, and I haven't really seen anyone.
Yeah.
I went to see a friend yesterday for the first time. She has a shop basically, and I went to her shop, and it was only the two of us, and we both wore masks and everything. But
Was it weird?
It wasn't. No, it didn't feel weird. No, it's this is what I mean. It doesn't feel like quarantine or there is a pandemic anymore.
Yeah, which is scary.
To see people wearing masks. I think a lot of people, at least in DC, people are finally wearing masks. And
yeah, I think more people are. I basically see everybody wearing them.
Yeah, I went to a coffee shop and I got a drink to go, and it just means that things have changed a little bit, the way they operate, the way.
Yeah, there's just less people.
There are less people. You don't even need to use cash or card. Everything is you order, or you use an app.
Yeah, you're just picking up.
Drink. But yeah, I went to her shop, and it just felt. It honestly was normal. I was just wearing a mask. That's all. It was the only difference. But yeah, I just been busy, kind of working. I'm just
cool. And you just finished Boardwalk Empire. We were just talking about this.
I finished it yesterday, and I need to add it to my favorite shows. One of my favorite shows, not my
nice.
favorite,
Yeah, it's up there with mine. For the amount of problems that I do have with the show, because I think I have problems with most shows. Now that when I watch them as an adult,
you could write an essay on that.
Oh, my problems with Boardwalk?
Yep.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I could. If I was in some kind of college class or something and I had to do this for a film class, I would easily write about character structures and issues and ins and outs about stories on TV, I guess, and what makes a successful one. Or in my opinion, though, it's all opinion based, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, it's quite subjective, but you did have some really valid points when we discussed it just now. But I still feel that I just really like this show overall. It
has some great actors.
I like the ending a lot, and I also just love the cast is great.
Yeah, the cast is stellar.
Obviously, the set design and costume design and everything is just so incredible, and
it is really cool.
It did make me cry, and I haven't cried. I honestly have not cried in a film or TV show in a really long time. I'm talking about years. I haven't.
I cry all the time. I'm super emotional. I'll just tear up on a Catfish episode. It depends on what's going on in my life.
Yeah, I don't think it was um, because what I watched was like really sad. I mean, some of it was, but I think it was more the fact that I knew that it was the end. It's kind of like I
Yeah.
already went in like to watching it thinking like, okay, this is the last episode I'm going to see, and
I've never cried so hard as the series finale of 6 Feet Under. And
oh
I think when
god,
you hear people talk about it, all
yeah.
they talk about is how that is the most emotional hour of television that most people have ever seen. It's just
Well,
so brilliant and
you're
so
not gonna
great.
like this, but I heard recently that it's a really overrated show by some people.
Oh, really? Oh, I've literally never heard that. I've
Oh
heard people
really?
say that they don't like it, but I've never once heard it's overrated. I've heard people that they don't like it, which is fine. There's some other shows that I think The Sopranos are pretty overrated. I think the end of that show was I think the hype, because it was like a new format at the time. It was like 99 at HBO, so they hadn't had any shows that were like Oz was on before that on HBO, but they never had a show that was like a cultural zeitgeist that everybody was watching.
I know
And it had
it's
no
so yeah.
commercials. They could swear. Like, I mean, there were just no censors. So I feel like people were like, "Oh shit!" And it's about the mob, and it's post night. It was like happening before 9/11 and came on while 9/11 had just happened. So, and it was like
Oh
in the same area, like it was in
wow.
Jersey, so it was like the time was really right. But then when you go back and watch it now, like as a rewatch, because it's so many other things have come after it that you've seen that are just such great, tight storytelling that you're like, oh,
Like
this
Breaking
was
Bad.
kind of like Breaking Bad, like Mad Men, like a lot of like really long shows that have been like cultural zeitgeist
Hmm.
shows, that everyone kind of agrees on, I guess. So 6 Feet Under is definitely in the category of like a niche show that not many people, either you like it or you really identify with it, but I've never heard that it's like overrated,
Well,
not
that's
from
yeah.
anyone. But it's I love it. It's a really great show. I think you would really like it. It's very dramatic and it's very incredible acting. That's kind of what it's about. It's about life on another level. It's not really like a very surface story. It's very like layered. And
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. I
yeah, it's
definitely.
cool. So yeah, but let's and I've been watching The Strain, which is crazy because I've seen it already, and it's like a horror like thriller by Guillermo del Toro,
Oh,
and
so what is that called?
The Strain,
Oh,
and it's like this
I like
horror.
him. I
It's
like
fucking
him.
dope. It's a series of books. I think it's 4 books, and it came out on TV. I think maybe it ended in 17. It might have been on for like 4 seasons, but it ended. It's amazing ending. The show is like book ended perfectly. I've seen it already before, but I'm rewatching it, and it's called The Strain because it's about like a vampire virus, and the main character is Corey Stoll, and he's an epidemiologist, and it's just like it's real close to home right now. Like they're quarantining New York. You see how they like study viruses and infections
Yeah.
and things. It's really, I'm like, oh god, this is so like real. Like I mean, granted, it's not a vampire virus happening right now, but it just seems so real with everything they're talking about, like quarantining and like like vaccinations and infections and like how these spread and like controlling the spread. I'm like, oh my god. But it's
Yeah,
kind
I
of
don't think I
interesting.
could watch that right now, but
Yeah, it's cool, but it's like supernatural, so it's really cool because it's about these like crazy vampire creature thing.
yeah, no, he's amazing. I love him.
Hmm. It's a good one. I think it's on Hulu. It's a good one. But
Cool.
yeah, let's get into
Yeah,
Nowhere.
let
Nowhere is the final installment in the Teen Apocalypse trilogy by Gregg Araki. It came out in 97. It literally has every probably well-known 90s actor and into the early 2000s in this movie. Not every, but almost every. A lot. A lot of people are in this film. So what are your first thoughts on it? Cuz I mean, I've seen it a bunch of times, so.
okay. My first thoughts are well, the first one was like a ridiculously like good-looking cast.
Yeah.
That basically becomes that generation of actors that dominated the early 2000s. Like
Mhm.
I feel like I don't exactly know all of their names, but I know them. I know that I've seen them in other shows and stuff. Like so many of
Mhm.
them. I mean, there are obviously some bigger actors and um, like what's her name? Oh, well, there's some that make like quick appearances as well.
Yeah,
like
that's
Dennis
true.
Richards, and like
I know, is that crazy?
yeah, no, it is crazy. Like everyone is in it. I mean, I guess they must have liked the director quite a lot, I suppose, to just to agree to be in the film for like a couple of scenes. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the rise. It was like during the rise of like the indie filmmaking scene. So
Yeah,
I think if you found a really cool script and you knew that, like, you might have heard of Dune Generation and might have rented it at that point. It was like video rental. So like if you rented it and heard about this really weird trippy movie and you're just starting out and you're like, why not? This is cool. It's not big budget. Even if you don't get paid a lot, it's like just a cool experience.
it's a cool project. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, so that was my first impression, and the second, I suppose, was it's just like really sexual. I feel like
Yeah, this
it's
one is more
just
than Doom Generation.
it totally is. It's just set pretty much. It revolves around couples and their relationship, and the thing that stood out the most was that you see Dark, the character,
Mhm.
who is Jimmy Duval.
Mhm.
You see him like playing kind of the same role. Like he's just totally, utterly in love with his girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
Which obviously you see him playing that role too in Doom Generation. Like he's just like really sweet and like
Mhm.
I don't know. He's like kind of adorable actually.
I
Like
love James
like
Duval.
I guess because in the other film, I felt the other actor was sort of like overshadowing him.
Hunky?
Well, yeah, but in
Yeah.
this film, I see James as like, oh, he's really beautiful. He's
Yeah.
just like you can. I mean, I'm not sure, but who knows, right? But he seems like he's like a really cool person too.
Yeah, he does. I've seen like they have a really cool they did a Q&A with the cast. I want to say like 5 years ago. I
Yeah,
think it might have been for the 20th anniversary or something like that. Or
but
maybe
I have to
30.
say, sorry, one
Oh
more
yeah.
thing. Like obviously the music and set are incredible. So
I know.
you know, but I do feel that there is no real plot. Like there isn't a real
No.
plot, and I have to be super honest. I don't quite get the alien part of the story. The
Oh, the alien that goes around zapping people?
yeah, like I feel like what is it? Like
Yeah, you're not. I feel like you're not supposed to get it. It's actually a theme that comes up in the show that he had on Stars called Now Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So like
okay.
it like a lot of it is a lot of the things that are weird are carried without his films throughout his films, but I don't know necessarily that they're supposed to make complete sense.
Yeah, because I actually tried to see if I could find out, like, perhaps it has a double meaning or something, you know, because a lot of directors do that.
Yeah.
Like, is there? I don't know. Like, it just
Apocalypse, the
it
end.
seemed
It's
kind
just
of
everything.
random.
I
but-
think what I think about the alien is that because this is the Apocalypse trilogy,
yeah,
I think that, and then what Dark says at the end of the film, where he's like, our generation is going to witness the end of everything.
yeah, because
just
back
know
then they
it.
used to think that the
Yeah.
world will end in 2000.
Yeah, so I think
So-
we were always told that it was going to be either a nuclear catastrophe, alien abduction, which is another theme in some of his other films. So, you know, you're thinking maybe aliens are already here and this is how the world's ending. They're just zapping people off one at a time. And like I'm seeing the apocalypse in real time, but I don't really realize it because I'm on drugs half the time I see this.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, I think that is what I take from it. I mean, who knows? You know, I think it's like part of another sign of the apocalypse. Oh shit, aliens are here. And
Well,
they're probably
since
gonna
we're
kill
talking
us.
about that, what do you actually think back then, like in 98, 99? Do you think about that the 2000 would be the end of the world, and how do you think it will end?
I don't think I thought that it was the end of the world, but I definitely think that at least in commercials and in films and everything, we had a lot of alien type movies. Like we had Independence Day, which was a big deal. And we had like, I don't know, Starship Troopers, like really dumb alien things. But there were a lot of alien films in the late 90s that were centered around alien abductions and Men in Black. There just were a lot. I mean, there are probably even more than I'm thinking of because I haven't seen a lot of them, but I've seen those main ones. But I'm trying to think of, I personally just know in magazines and stuff, there was a lot of talk of the new millennium, and this is kind of, you know, the end of an era. It's the end of a decade. I think at the end of any decade is kind of weird. It was weird last year. I mean, granted, it was weird for a lot of other reasons, but
Yeah.
it was, you know, when you thought about it, you're, wow, this is the end of a decade. This is the 10s, you know, like the 2010s. So you know that the next decade is going to be something crazy, but I don't think I really thought the world was going to end in like 98. Did
Yeah.
you? What did you think?
I did.
You actually did?
Yeah, I mean, my sister and I used to have like insane, like crazy conversations about this. Like, we genuinely did worry about it. We used to think like, should we? It's kind of like, okay, so I moved to the UK in 99 basically, and that was a huge part of that. That's something that definitely influenced my decision of moving to the UK, because I thought that the world will end, and I wanted to do as much as I could and to try everything. I mean, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm not saying like entirely, but I genuinely, it was a huge part of how I spent 99, I suppose.
Oh,
Because
wow.
I thought, it's kind of silly when you think about it.
Yeah, I definitely
I
did
was
not live
15
my life any differently.
we were
They just didn't tell
15,
us.
so like, you know, it's
Yeah.
obviously doesn't make a lot of sense now, but back then, you're also a teenager, and you're going through all these emotions, and like, you're so hormonal, you know.
And
Like,
you're self-centered too. I
you
guess I
are.
was just thinking
You
about
think,
what I was doing.
really, I used to spend so many hours just staring at the ceiling, just thinking like, what am I going to do with my life? And if I only have 2 years left or 1 year left, I want to do everything I've dreamed of doing, you know. So I moved to the
Cool,
UK
though.
and like all of that, but I also took a lot of drugs and party really hard. I mean, I'm sure you did that. Like, we attended to like a 2000 like end of the world party, you know. It was like a big deal, you know.
Yeah, but it wasn't like, yeah, I guess so. I mean, we
Did
did get
you
crazier than
did
usual,
you have
but
that? Okay, because in the UK, or at least in London, do you know that big venue called do you know it? It's called the Dome, Greenwich, like Millennium Dome. Do you know what that
I
is?
think so. Oh, hold on, let me look it up.
It's this.
Not offhand
It's
though.
in Greenwich, and it's just like a shape of a dome sort of thing. And it opened like just before, and so they had this crazy party, like in like.
Oh, it's the O2
Well, it is the O2 now, yeah.
now.
It's
Oh,
like,
okay,
it's
yeah.
been so many. It's basically, it's a huge space, and for a very long time they didn't know what to do with it. Anyway,
Oh,
there
I
was a
see. Yeah,
huge
I've seen this.
party,
Yeah,
and it was like
yeah. It opened
on
on New Year's
December
Eve.
31st, and I went to
Yeah.
it, and it was
Oh, wow.
basically like, you're just gonna party because we don't know, like, party really hard, and you know, I lost a shoe. I mean, it's crazy. That's how wild it was, you know.
Oh,
I
wow.
I
That's
went
cool.
home with just one shoe. Anyway, so yeah, I think it's it made me think about that when I watched the film. Just
Cool.
I
It is.
guess,
It's very
yeah,
apocalyptic.
it is.
Apocalyptic.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it is. Crazy. Well, this is one of my all-time favorite films. So this is kind of weird that I'm watching it. I've never dissected it, I guess. I've always just I watched it when I was, I think, 16. I think it was the first time I saw it, either 15 or 16, because I rented it. And the cover in the VHS shop was like, it's Beverly Hills 90210 on acid. Like, that's
Yeah,
what
I've
the
seen
quote
that
was.
described.
And I was
Yeah.
like, fuck, this looks so cool. So then I rented it. And I think it probably really shaped what I find shocking, because I guess in films in general, and I guess just what I like, I never thought of this as like, whoa, this is a weird like sex dream. Like, I mean, like, it's like all these weird different like forms of relationships and like weird sex acts that I had never seen at like 15 on a film or anything.
Oh yeah.
Especially not with people that I knew. Like, I knew a lot of these actors already. Christina Applegate was in Married with Children. James Duval had already been in Independence Day, which was a massive movie, and obviously Doom Generation, but I'd seen him before. And like Rose McGowan, like Shannon Doherty, like there are people that were in this film that I recognized, so it was so weird. And I just thought, wow, this is unlike anything I've ever seen. And I loved the clothes and, you know, just everything. I think as a kid, I guess it really spoke to me. And maybe just I didn't even realize it. I probably didn't realize how much of an impact it would have on me later, but I just thought it was really cool, and it was just like nothing I'd ever seen before. And the music was amazing. And I went out and bought the CD. And yeah, I mean, we'll talk about the soundtrack, but that soundtrack is one of my favorites of all time.
It's incredible. It's amazing.
It's so good.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I really like this film a lot. So it's kind of interesting to look at. Some things I look at deeply, but when I was watching it yesterday, I was like, I don't want to go too deep on this, because if I really break it down, like, yeah, the story's not perfect, but I just like it. You know, I just love the whole vibe, and I love everything about it. So yeah, that's all I have on my first thoughts.
Cool.
And I don't have much behind the scenes. I just have one tidbit, which is kind of cool, is that obviously it's the third installment in this whole trilogy, which we mentioned before. But Jason Rail, who's hair and makeup, who also did it on the Doom generation and some other Rocky films, he had all of these Polaroids from behind the scenes in the shoebox. And in 2016 on ID, he actually shared a lot of them and did a little interview.
Cool.
And he has an Instagram, which I will link on. I'll link it on the Fashion Grunge post so you can see it. And if you search the hashtag Pix PIX by Jason Rail on Instagram, that's his hashtag. He posts all these behind the scenes from all the Araki films that he's worked on, and it's so cool because you see like Heather Graham in that blue satin dress, standing at Venice Beach, and you see all the camera crews and stuff behind, you know, while they're doing Nowhere. So it's really cool if you want to see some behind the scenes of Parker Posey. He's really good friends with Now, so he has really cool pictures of her and lots of other films and stuff. So it's really cool. That's the only real behind the scenes that I have. And it didn't do crazy well at the box office. I think like $100 and some $1,000. But it's a weird film. It's not a box office draw, you know.
I'm sure he knew that. I don't think he cared.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think he cared.
So I have more like, I don't know if this is like production notes, but kind of.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this will fall in that category, but just that the director says that having music playing while he writes is the main element in his creative process. Like.
And you can tell.
Yeah, you can tell. I mean, obviously, music is so important. Like, it's just, totally like comes through. But he says that he writes certain scenes with a specific song in mind. Like, you know, like I suppose music will inspire him to write certain parts, and like sets the mood and pretty much the direction for his films. And I guess it's obvious. You know, like I thought that's quite cool though.
Yeah, no, it's really cool, and there's definitely some scenes that I mean, just the song fits so well, and some other films too, but I feel like especially Nowhere, the songs just fit so well. Some like the ones that you like really hear, like the Chemical Brothers one.
Oh my god!
You know, like all of them, like the scene, the way it's shot, the way it is, it's just really crazy. Same with the London Suede, Suede, but
Suede,
like
it's a shame they changed
weird that it's like the London Suede, that when you see Juji Fruit's Party, like that just so goes with it. I mean, it just so works well.
Yeah, it's just interesting that he thinks that way, you know, because like. He would probably even times it. Like if he knows a song is like 3 minutes, he's like, okay, this scene has to be like, I don't know, 2.5 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, like
this has to happen. Like it's such an insane way of working, in my opinion. You know.
It's cool though.
It's really cool. And the director also said that most nights of filming were just like a big party. Pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, I could totally see that.
But yeah, if you have like a bunch of teenagers and like music playing, and it's just like, you know, it would.
I would have loved to have been like a PA on that shoot.
Or an extra, you know.
Yeah, like, but I want to be like behind the scenes. Like I want to see like how it was shot and like all that kind of like how they put it together.
Yeah,
and stuff. That would have been so cool. I mean, yeah, an extra would be awesome. But it'd be super cool to work, alongside of him. He's one of my favorites, Gregg Araki. I love his direction so much, and I love that he still does things. You know, like he still does even current things in some TV shows. Fun fact is that he was supposed to do a series for MTV, and he did a pilot.
Okay.
And the pilot is on YouTube, and I think it's called The End of the World. He's obsessed with apocalypse. And halfway through, I think either him writing or them wanting to shoot it, MTV cut their budget in half.
Oh, wow.
And then later on, just never picked it up. And it fucking sucks. It really fucking sucks, because I think it'd be really cool. Oh, it's called This Is How the World Ends. That's what it's called. And it would have really fucking sucked that we didn't get a show like that. But then he actually did Now Apocalypse on Stars, and I watched the first 3 episodes, but I didn't have Stars. I had the trial. And then I just didn't, I mean, I was like, I can't pay for this, like, just to get one show. So, but yeah, and I don't think that's coming back either. I think that was like 1 season. But I feel like I was thinking of the show Euphoria.
Yeah, which I haven't watched.
Yeah, like I've seen it. I've just seen it once. Like I've seen like, you know, once all the way through when it was on TV. And I didn't like it, and I had all these issues with it. And I was like, God, this is like a wannabe, like a Rocky. Like this is like, it's like using a lot of the same techniques, like those color gelled lights in like the backgrounds, and like just the way the lighting is and everything. But then I was like, okay, well, no, this is a new generation, so this might be what Araki would do. So I was like, all right, let's not be too harsh on it. So then I, you know, watched it for the story. The story is really intense. I mean, if you think that it's really intense for a lot of the subject matter in Euphoria to be happening with teenagers. I feel like especially because they are in high school, but it's really, it's really whoa. You know, I guess obviously the censors have been pushed because teens see a lot more now than we did. So it's just really intense that it's, you know, a teen show, but yeah. So yeah, he did do a TV show in the 90s, but it didn't end up getting picked up for MTV, but it would have been so cool, I think.
Yeah, that is a shame.
Yeah. But I mean, at least he did other things. You know, he continued to make films, which is awesome. But yeah, that's all I have for behind the scenes. And you have your little tidbits. We want to move on to the plot.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just took some kind of random notes throughout the story. I just love how it starts. I love that the very first thing you see is this, you don't really know what it is, and it's like this misty weird wall, and then the credits like pop, and then it has like the title sequence is really cool, and then it just pans down and it's like dark in the shower, but it's like this huge white room. Just the way that it looks.
Yeah, really I love that too.
Yeah, I love how it just, I was gonna have that as my favorite scene, but it was not really a favorite scene because it's just, I just really like how it starts. And yeah, and then and I love how the first thing you see is like obviously Dark like jerking off in the shower, but you see his like in almost like intense fantasy sequence that he's thinking of, like he's thinking of so many different things at the same time.
That's my favorite scene.
Is it?
It's one of my favorite. Yeah,
like the fantasy sequence,
opening scene where he's like in the shower. It's so like what guys do when they're that age, and like he's just like a ball of hormones, you know. Like, he's just like basically fantasizing about like a guy and his girlfriend, and
this S&M dominatrix, Debbie Mazar,
oh my God.
like, which is so crazy. And then of course when you see all of the titles, you see all these famous names popping up, like because you see all of their names and you're like Brian Philippe, Heather Graham, Mina Suvar. You're like, what? That's it.
Yeah, I know.
You're like, what? Oh my God, all these people are going to be in this movie? Like Rachel True, Christina Applegate. It just doesn't end. You're like, holy shit, this is so crazy. And like John Ritter and like Jeremy Jordan and all these random people. I love Dark's, intense fantasy. That was mine. And then I said, I love that. I also love when you see his room. Obviously, his mom is Beverly D'Angelo, another crazy celebrity too. And I love when you see his room when she chases him out of the shower, and then you see his room is this giant painting of himself with guns pointed at his head, and the way he's standing with his American flag towel. I just love that.
No, you're just describing my first scene. Oh no, all of that is in there. But
okay, well, I just really like it. I just said that Dark is everything. I love his name. And also I love that his name is Dark in this, and then it was let's see, Amy Blue was Blue was her last name in Doom Generation. His name is Dark. I just like the color.
The names are cool.
Yeah, the names of everyone are cool too. It's like people have the weirdest names, like Handjob, Juji Fruit,
Egg.
Candy. Yeah, Egg. Yeah, how weird. And then, but her name's Polly. She's like, my real name's Polly, but my friends call me Egg. I know. And I was like, God, this is so crazy. And then I love how Dark just films everything. And I love that it's like this new, or not new, but it's kind of this early entry into kind of what life is like now, because there's super like just fluidity. They're not even like saying they're bi, but like his girlfriend has a girlfriend. He doesn't like her, but he's not pissed. Like, he's not going to tell her she can't have a girlfriend. And he also is thinking about this other guy. And it's like, it's kind of like whatever. It's not a big deal, which is like super cool that it's not really made into like an issue. Like in some films it's like a huge thing. It's like, oh shit, I have to like tell this person, but it's kind of like, no, this is what it is. Like we start that way. We start in the story. And I love that when they go have breakfast at the Hole, I think it's called. I love that it's just all of the names of their classes. Apparently they're all in class and school together somehow too, because they're always talking about like, are you the only one that goes to class? How's school? So you get the impression that they're probably in, they're not in high school. I think it's probably college.
Probably.
Yeah, like first year out of high school, college or something. Like maybe like city college. Because I feel like they're not in dorms or anything like that. Like they're living at home. So I feel like it's probably like just like a chill college. But the classes are so funny. One girl asks, Alyssa, she asks Montgomery, like, aren't you supposed to be in thermonuclear catastrophes class? And then and then Montgomery is talking to what's her name? What's Christina Applegate's name? I forgot her name.
I don't remember, yeah.
I forgot her name, but he's talking to her, and then he's like, hey, Dingbat. Her name's Dingbat. And he's like, hey, Dingbat, will you help me study for my history of lethal epidemics midterm?
I know.
And she's like, yeah.
It's like a world on its own, what they have there. It's very strange.
Yeah, it is really strange.
Even that cafe or whatever, it's like when they come out and you see it, it looks like an abandoned warehouse.
Yeah, with a weird door. They like climb through this like foil or something.
Yeah,
it just looks like an acid trip. Like it's all the sky's all purple and it looks all super weird. And then I just have Ryan and Heather Graham. Wow. Dee Dee Richardson on the beach. Like,
I know.
Later they go rollerblading. I'm like, whoa, on Venice Beach, which is really cool.
I know. Basically, everyone is just so beautiful in this film.
I know,
everyone.
Really
it's crazy.
And they're just young and like normal. You know what I mean? Like they just are crazy young and just look like that. I feel like nowadays there's so much like enhancement going on that you just never know like what anyone looks like. It's just so crazy. Like some of it's out of control, but now I feel like it's so weird to see people that are like normal-ish, like they don't have a lot of makeup on. It's super lo-fi too. Like the way it's shot.
Oh yeah.
Like it's not shot in like a high def. Well, they didn't have high def, but it's not shot in like a glossy way. Like it's still shot in this kind of real, like the makeup's not crazy. You know what I mean? It's just very like normal, like what you would actually wear.
Yeah.
But the world is so crazy around them. Like you would think that it would be kind of nuts, but the world is so crazy around them, which is really cool. But yeah, and then I have at the end, not the end, but after you see Ryan and Heather Graham and like Denise Richards, you just keep seeing all these cameos just around. You're like, holy shit, it's so weird. And then it just shows everyone, and everyone's kink in a weird way. Like you just see what everyone's up to. You're like, okay, this person's into this person's into that, this person's into pain, okay, this person's into like, and I think watching as a kid, I was like, huh, okay.
Yeah, did you understand it? What did you think?
I'm trying to think, because I know I didn't like run away from it. I wasn't like, oh, this is weird. I was just like, okay. which is apparently what I used to do as a kid, that I've heard, that if something was really scary, I would never react if it was on TV, and I would just kind of go like, okay, like this is what it is. Like I'm just gonna like take this as what it is. So I just kind of saw it and was like, oh, okay. Oh, cool. He likes to have his nipple rings pulled out by a wrench. All right, man. That's your shit, you know? That's cool. I'm not doing that, nor doing that to anyone else. So
yeah, I don't think I even really understood. I don't remember it, but I don't think I.
Yeah,
really
like
felt
when
that.
did you ever see? Yeah, I mean, not, and it's kind of the one thing that's cool about it looking at it now, because I obviously didn't think about this when I was watching it, but I like how it's not kink shaming. Like
No.
50 Shades of Grey which is a terrible film, but it's very much like a kink shame kind of film. Like,
Yeah.
'cause it's very much like, oh, there's this weird thing that I like to do, but like I'm kind of weirded out about it, and I have to make you like sign it. Well, granted, I don't know, he was some billionaire, but like I have to make you like sign this thing because I don't want anyone to know. But in this one, it's kind of just, nope, this is what this person's into. This is what this person's into. Like, and we're not gonna make a big show about it, and we're not even gonna talk about it. That's just like what it is. It's just
Yeah.
part of the story. You know, this is like the relationship that they have. So I like that. I like that element. And it also carries through with, and same with Doom Generation. Like that shit was weird. But
Yeah, it was. It was.
it wasn't like, oh god, like I think if you would have approached a kind of weird threesome in any other film, or any other film that I've seen, judging with the characters that seem to be like somewhat judgy, just judgy in their own world. Most characters are. They have like a set standard of morals that they live by. But I feel like in all of his films, everything is kind of up for exploration, which I really like.
Yeah. No, that is true. Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah, what did you
Yeah.
think about all the different like weird kinks that were going on? Were you like, what the
Well,
fuck? 'Cause my friends were like, I showed this film to them when we were like 17, and they were like, Lauren's into some weird shit. I don't know. I was like, it's cool. I mean, what's the big
you know, I really wish I had watched this like at that age, because it's obviously different now. You know, like it's not shocking at all or anything. But
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what my view on things like this what was when I was that age. But I never thought.
Did you
Oh,
know
this is
about it?
Yeah, because I started watching really like fucked up films from a very young age.
And you grew up outside the US where things are not as censored as they are here.
Yeah, I mean, I literally used to wait till my parents went to bed, and then I would be up watching things that I should not be watching. Like I mean, there were some really fucked up shows in Mexico actually, and like violent, like sex, and I was watching sex, and you know, like not watching sex. I mean, like sex or violent, like sort of shows or films, you know. But my parents didn't know. Like they have no idea. Um, I was just really curious. I mean, I'm still curious. I'm just a curious person, you know. I found it fascinating, but I don't think I thought this is weird. I was just like intrigued by it, you know.
Yeah, that's probably the same reaction I have. I was never like, oh, this is fucking weird. I mean, I think I'm more weirded out by extreme. I think definitely the extreme scenes in this film, which we'll get to in a bit, but they're definitely the more violent ones. Are way more extreme and disturbing than the weird sex stuff. And like the weird kinky stuff. I feel like the violence
Yeah.
is way more like, whoa, this is fucking.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I knew from a very young age what rape was. But the
Yeah.
whole kinky thing was like,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, I guess this is just, I don't know.
Yeah, because it's not violent. No one's screaming no. So you're thinking,
Yeah.
okay, well then they're agreeing to this. This is what they want to do. Okay.
Yeah, no, I'd love to go back and to like be 14 or 13 again to know what I thought about this, you know?
Yeah, I think I'd also seen Kids by Larry Clark, and I'd seen that rape, and I was like, that, which is why I like both of these directors so much, but that was more of like a more realistic scene, because it was something that would have could have easily happened. or passing out at a party and someone you know is the one that ends up doing this to you. It's like that just seemed way more realistic, and the way Kids was shot too was obviously not shot like Araki, but yeah, and then this film too, it's like this film too, like the rape is way more. It's not. It's way more like terrifying. You know what I mean? It's way more like. Well, obviously she's conscious too. I mean, in Kids, obviously it's like a different situation. But yeah, this rape scene, I was like, oh god, like that. I remember being really disturbed by that when I saw it when I was young. I was just like, and I felt really scared. I remember feeling like really scared for her because you're young and obviously you're taught about that as a woman, that you're just like, oh my god. Like, this could totally happen to me, and this guy was famous.
Exactly, you just touched on something really important. I feel like it's very different for women, though, because men don't really they don't grow up having that fear that they're going to be raped.
Yeah.
Like, that's something very, like, from a young age as a girl, like, you're something that you're exposed to.
Yeah. And it always, like, throughout your whole life, it's not something that goes away.
Like, you can't even, like, you think about going to a party, right? Or, like, walking late at night, or whether you'll be picked up. I think your parents made you really aware as well of the danger. Like, I was going to parties, but my dad would pick me up. He would never let me just get a cab or anything, Yeah. Anyway.
It's nuts. I also wrote, and the kink topic, a lot of bondage seems to be the key. That's the most of it I see. And then I wrote Mina Suvari, and
she's so young.
And this is 2 years before American Beauty, which is that was 1999. And also I love that Mel's brother's name is Zero. Which is really cool, her boyfriend in there. And I love the weird apartment building that she lives in that has that weird night. And then when he called the ringer, it was like, dun, 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 dun. Like, it was cool. It was so weird. And then there was that weird figure, where you see that guy holding that dead dog, and then he like blinks and then it's gone. And then she runs up. Yeah, that was super weird and like super fucked up and strange. And then, I mean, this isn't like throughout. I didn't touch on everything because some things I wanted to save for the scenes, but I love when you finally get to Juji Fruit's party, because it's one of those films where you hear, it's almost Dazed and Confused is the same way. There's this one party that you're kind of getting to at the end because everyone talks about it. At the end, Dazed and Confused, it's the Moon Tower, and this one they're all trying to get to Juji Fruit's party, and Juji Fruit, and it's Gibby Haynes from Butthole Surfers, which is such a sick band, which I thought was super cool that it was him. I just wrote, it's Gibby Haynes. And then I also wrote, I love Mel and Dark's open relationship negotiation throughout the film. I mean, in different points, it just kind of like comes up that he's like, yeah, I wish we didn't get with so many people. And
I don't like that. I feel like she's just taking advantage of him.
Well, yeah, it's so just throughout the entire film, she's just like, no, I want to like screw around with whoever I want, I don't really want to do that. And he's just like such a lovesick puppy, but he just keeps trying to convince her, like he does it at the party again at Judy Fruits, he is like, hey, like, what's going on? And she's a bitch, and it's like, no, I'm gonna go off with those guys.
I feel like she's taking advantage of him, and also she's like, I mean, she probably doesn't mean it, but it's very condescending. Like, she's like, oh, you're so cute. You're, like, I can't remember what she says, but
yeah, she does always kind of do that.
Kind of like, oh, you cute little thing, you're so naive, so like that kind of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I don't like her.
Yeah, she's definitely. I mean, I like her in the sense of, I like her as an actress. I like her as. I mean, I'm glad that the cast is also super diverse too, which is
that is so
great.
Cool.
So I also think as like a 16-year-old, I was like, oh my god, this is someone I can identify with too. On top of everything else, I was like, wow, and she's really cool. I loved her in The Craft, just the actress. And mental note, she's 50 and looks exactly the fucking same right now.
Really?
She's incredible, yeah. She's like a fountain of youth. It's insane that she's 50. Like the girl from Clueless, like Stacey Dash. She looks exactly the same.
I don't know what she looks like now.
Oh, she looks the same. Dee from Clueless, yeah.
Yeah, I do think it's like really cool that, and I guess that's, something really cool about the director is that he does touches on certain topics that were kind of taboo, you know, because
Mm-hmm.
like obviously there's always been like films about like I don't know like teenagers and like high school and parties and sex, but it's all very vanilla, and I feel like
Mm-hmm.
he portrays a completely different side of what kids get up to, you know.
Yeah.
It's more like, I mean, probably to an extreme, because I don't think you are into like fetish like at that age per se, like, you know.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Or maybe, I mean, I don't know.
I wasn't. I didn't know anyone who was, unless they didn't tell me, but not me.
um
Also, the bulimia too was really
oh yeah,
extreme in the
that
earlier. I was like,
exactly.
whoa, they're actually gonna do this? Because at first I was like, what are they gonna do when they're all standing or sitting
I mean, I
around?
kind of saw it coming when they're eating the cake, because
Yeah, well, yeah, right before they ate it, and
they're
they're like
like
looking
binging
around.
and
Yeah,
like,
I was like,
you know.
and I mean, I don't like the fact that obviously they were binging, but when they're all like looking around and then they're like, oh, are you gonna? And then she's like, no, I'm just gonna do a bunch of speed later and not eat for like 3 days. Like that's
Yep.
what that one girl said, and then the other girl's like, no, I can't. And then like egg is the one, and
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
like,
like Kate
oh,
Moss's diet for a very long time.
speed.
Yeah.
Oh
Just
god,
like, you know, it's known like that's why that, you
God,
know, she was always so thin. But
that sucks. And I have out Juji Fruit's party. I have why does Ducky find out about egg at the party? Why are people calling Juji Fruit's house on a landline? That also is one of my '90s moments. Is everyone talking on a landline?
oh my god, that's so funny. Except that
throughout.
guy, he has a mobile. I thought one of them.
Oh yeah, someone probably does, but it's like not. It's basically or they're like cordless phones. It seemed
Yeah.
like it was like a
Oh really?
cordless.
Oh okay. I
I
thought it
know
was a
that the
mobile.
I it
Or
might
like
be, but it's like why would they call? It seemed like it was at his house. Like it was like a
you don't
house
call it that.
phone.
You say cell here, right? Like a
Yeah,
cell
yeah,
phone.
cell
Yeah.
phone. Or
I
I
hate
guess you
that.
just say
It sounds
phone.
so weird
Yeah,
to
we
me.
said cell
Cell.
phone. Yeah, and yeah,
Ugh.
mobile because you guys say mobile. We
We
say
said mobile. Yeah,
yeah,
the
we say
first time I said
mobile.
that here, people were like, "Ah, mobile." It's
Yeah,
like,
mobile. That's
uh,
funny.
I know.
And then I have alien at the party. And then scary murder. Gross. That dude beating him with that can, that Campbell soup
Oh,
can. The fuck, dude.
yeah.
I was like, whoa, this is intense. But also, this is kind of interesting because maybe I'm thinking that he meant it as a comment on like violence is intensely more terrifying than just regular weird kinky sex. Because that's kind of what Americans do. Like, we swap out sex for violence. We'll show you violence all day, all night. Like, we'll show it at 8 o'clock at night on TV. But sex is extremely censored in this crazy way.
Why
And
is that?
I don't know. I don't know. It's just America's like really puritanical. Like I feel like we have this air of, oh, we're like super open, everybody come in, whatever, like we're super diverse. But when it comes to like kind of like morals and values, there's still this very conservative like backbone into like what people think should be the values and like
Yeah.
limiting certain things and like censors and what they're still trying to control. I think it's
Yeah.
it's
It's a
weird.
weird contradiction actually, because I did notice that right away when I moved here, you know? Like
Yeah.
it's it's just very bizarre that, like, for example, this is the one thing, this is a prime example actually. When you go to the beach,
Mm-hmm.
like let's say okay, Americans go to a beach in Europe on a holiday, they are so weird about new, like, because a lot of women, I mean, it's kind of like part of the norm to just be topless at the beach, you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a big deal at all. But Americans get really weirded out by that, and
Yeah.
they don't know what to do, you know. It's I mean, I had conversations with American men about this, and they're like, I know, it's just like boobs. Oh my god. I'm like, but it's so strange that you still see that as a, you know,
Yeah, as like a
as,
bad thing or a threat. Like, what is it?
I don't know. I mean, I guess I
I
actually don't
don't
know.
care. I mean,
I
I guess
feel
I don't know.
there's so many things that are just normalized in the UK. You don't think about them. Like, you're not going to be you never see guys perving. I mean, they might be looking at you, but you get used to it. You know, nudity. You get used to like see girls not wearing much at the beach, and it's fine. Like it's not
Yeah.
a big deal. But it's quite interesting when you go to a beach with American friends, and they're like, oh, like they don't know what to do with themselves. Basically,
I feel like
it's
they restrict it so much that when it comes in like a form of like not your significant other, like a stranger, that it's
Mhm.
like they don't know what to do. Like they don't like they are so like deprived. As even as like
Yeah.
teenage boys, like God help you. You can't bring teenage like American boys to like a nudist beach. You know, like they will probably be like, "Oh my god, you know, they're
Well,
not
that's
gonna be freaked
exactly.
out. They're not gonna be
Yeah.
quiet. But older, when you get older and they're more mature, they're like freaked out, but like, they're not gonna be screaming like a 16-year-old, you know, who would be like, "Yeah, this is awesome," you know, or whatever. I don't know, whatever boys do, but I would assume that they would be like excited about it when they're like 16 because they're like
Yeah,
super
I would really
hormonal.
love to know what is the beginning of that, or like how it all started. I mean, like, why are Europeans just so liberal and open-minded and like
Yeah, like when
open
it
about
comes to
stuff like
that,
when it
yeah.
comes to that and so many other things, right? I feel like Americans are very prudish, and I
Yeah.
don't know. Yeah,
It's really weird. I have no idea. I'm sure there's probably some college class out there that dives completely into all of this, like for a whole semester, which is so crazy. Oh yeah, so alien at the party, weird, and then Dark is just like fuck this, I'm out, and then just leaves, and then that's when like Montgomery comes back and is like, I was abducted by aliens, and I was like, what? And then I was like, what the fuck? And then Dark is just like in this doom, like he's in this like black hole of depression, and you finally think that Montgomery's like, oh wow, Montgomery's here. Okay, Mel is kind of doing her own thing. Maybe this is the time that they're gonna like connect, and then turns into a fucking alien cockroach.
I know. You
Leaves
never
them
actually see them like
explode.
kissing.
No,
It's
and it explodes, and then Dark is just left there, even more dark and depressed as he ever was. And then that's the end of the film. And then it has that amazing sequence with the titles and all the cast, which I
I have to
love.
say, I
That's like
love
my
the way
favorite.
I love the how they've done it with the colors. Like it's
Hmm.
kind of like um purple and pink, or purple and yellow, I think.
Yeah, it's really
It's
cool.
just really cool. Yeah, I mean the whole film felt very like MTV-ish, like MTV-ish,
Yeah, it did, like the
like
colors and stuff.
it's just the way it was filmed as well,
Yeah.
where it's kind of like a document almost, like a
Hmm.
documentary, not document. God, yeah, a document.
Well,
uh,
that's what Dark does. Dark takes his camera everywhere because he's convinced something horrible is gonna happen to him,
yeah,
like a spectacular plane crash, and then he's like, you know, I feel it, like a prenomination. You mean
but I feel like
premonition?
teenagers are like that. I mean, I used to
Yeah,
say shit like that all the time. Like,
that's true. I guess I was. I don't know if I was. I don't really remember. I don't
I
think I
definitely,
ever.
I can tell you, you could pay me millions of dollars to go back to be a teenage girl, and I wouldn't do it. It's just such a tough age.
Yeah,
Like,
it is.
it wasn't fun. You have all these emotions. You don't know what to do with it. You don't know anything about life. Like,
It's kind of good though. It's like that kind of lost innocence when you don't really know how shit life is like what makes teenagers so strong and so ripe for storytelling because they just have no I guess that's why a lot of people are really into like youth films. Like I am, I love films about like teenagers or like young adults, just because you have such a different view of the world, and you kind of don't know how good the world is sometimes, but also like how bad it is and how tough it is to exist on your own. And you kind of have just this like way of moving through life that's just really different and that people can just accept in a story. But when you're older, like if you're watching a film where someone's in their 30s, it's like you're automatically implementing this kind of morality that, you know,
Yeah.
oh no, at 35, you know that's wrong. So why is this
Hmm.
person doing it? Either they're a sociopath or whatever. So it kind of has a different feel. So I like when they're young and you know they're just fucking up and they don't care and you're just along for it. And it just, you kind of can just, I guess you have more license as a storyteller too. If you're going to do like a realistic but also fantasy type story, you couldn't do that as 30s. It'd have to be different. You know, it'd have to be
Yeah.
it'd have to be taking drugs. And that's the only
Yes.
way that you'd be able to explain them just acting crazy, but you don't have to do that in this. Yeah, they do take drugs. They take X, but I mean, they're just doing what they want to do anyway, you know?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's obviously you have more material to play with, I suppose,
Yeah.
and to explore. But yeah, I mean, I do miss that. That's probably it. The fact
Yeah,
that
that is kind of it.
you're like fearless, you know, because but partly is you can't you didn't think of consequences. You know, it's
No.
kind because it comes from like lack of experience because you just don't care. You just do things, not really knowing. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
what's gonna
when you're
happen?
35, 40, you already had, you know, a lot of bad experiences and
Yeah,
you
totally.
you know what consequences are. But when you're young, you don't. But also you don't not knowing how things are gonna turn up to just mean that you're more open to do anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to the theme and the mood. This mood and theme is amazing. This Technicolor LA world. The cinematographer is Arturo Smith, who he's worked with in the past as well. He's amazing. So yeah, that's what I have about that. Production design is Patty Podesta. I mean, the interiors of this film, the rooms that a lot of the characters have are just next level. Egg's room with all the flowers, and then she has like almost a row of flowers by her window, like right
Yeah.
underneath her window, which I thought's really cool. Bart's room is my favorite with all the type everywhere,
Yeah.
like
That
all the
it is very
fonts,
cool.
and then
Yeah.
it's on his like duvet cover. And obviously we talked about Darks and fucking Mel's when you see the first time you see her and she's literally on the background of that, like it looks like a
Bathroom.
twister.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
looks like
her
a
bathroom. I
yeah, it's
mean, that's like the coolest
so
bathroom ever.
so cool. And the phone matches. Her
Yeah.
cordless phone is like red or white with the red dots, which is really cool. I was like, oh my god, this is awesome. And then the music we were talking about, the music's amazing. Did you hear that
Yeah.
Radiohead song?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I didn't know that. I mean, I know that song, but I don't remember at the like. I don't think I managed to see
Oh, like
where it was
hear it
played
in the
in the
film?
film. No.
There's another Radiohead song I think in the film, and it's when Zero's car gets carjacked by the Atari gang. I think
Yeah.
it's like after that when they're driving. It's sometime like that, or it's right after Ryan Philippe like drives his car, like he's going
Yeah.
towards the party, and then it just has like this lull, and then you hear like Radiohead in the background. But I don't think it's that song. I think it's another song off the Bends though.
Yeah, because I don't recall. There are songs that definitely stand out. Like you recognize right away, like Chemical Brothers, Massive
Mm-hmm.
Attack,
Yeah.
and Elastica, really quite
Mm-hmm.
early in the film. Yeah, the soundtrack is amazing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's so cool.
yeah, I mean everything really, the mood and fashion. I feel like obviously fashion is amazing, but the set design is just so incredible. Like it feels like an art installation
Yeah, it
almost,
does.
and it's very like pop art. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, like what you said, the bathroom with like the twisted sort of background, and then Egg's outfit matches her room. Basically,
Yeah.
a lot of the rooms or the characters' outfits match their bathrooms. You know, it's like the hers is flowers, and it's
Mm-hmm.
just really cool. Like I love that.
It'd be really awesome if they did a installation like of the rooms.
Yeah,
Like at a something. Like at a huge museum warehouse. Like
well, I
something.
feel like they should do like kind of like release it in like specific sort of cinemas?
They did.
Like
They
they
did.
did?
Yeah, they did at the
Oh,
Metronome in New York. Not
oh,
this
cool.
summer, but like 2 summers ago. So they
Oh,
did,
okay.
and they have done in LA, like that you would see screenings and stuff sometimes.
Okay, that's really
Yeah,
cool.
so they
Yeah.
have, but not on a large scale because it's obviously
Because
such a small film.
it didn't come out in DVD, right?
No, it came out
No.
on tape, like VHS. It came out on DVD in other countries, but not in the US. So
That
you
is
have to have a
so
region
weird.
free like
Yeah.
DVD player and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, okay.
Or use on the computer or something like that. But I think,
That's actually weird. I don't understand
yeah, I don't know
the
why.
why. Like,
I have no idea why. Let's get to the fashion.
cool.
Who are your faves?
Okay,
'Cause
so
mine is like everyone, so I kind of want to hear yours specifically.
I appreciate like everyone's fashion. Like, there's some really cool things, scenes that like stand out. But I'm just totally obsessed with Egg's outfit because that is the one outfit that I would totally wear. It's
Mm-hmm.
like she has this sort of shift dress, and it's like a flower print. It kind of looks very like it's almost like a texture to it. Her
Yeah,
dress. It's
I
not
think
just
it
a
is
print.
like
It's very like flowers, kind
applique.
of.
Is it applique?
Probably,
Is that
yeah,
what you
yeah,
call
like
it? Yeah, when they're.
yeah. I mean, at first I wasn't sure what it was, but then obviously it was flowers, and her Mary Jane shoes.
Mm-hmm.
It's like that outfit. That's basically me. Like I would wear that. Mini skirts. Like that's everyone's wearing mini skirts
Mm-hmm.
basically. Or jeans, kind of like boyfriend jeans. I do really like one look by I think her name is Ali or
Oh,
Elisha.
Alyssa,
Alisa,
the one
yeah.
that has the boyfriend with the motorcycle.
Yes, I
Yeah.
mean she's wearing this really cool black corset. Again, a very 90s thing because
Mm-hmm.
that was they made a huge comeback. Um, Born with jeans, but it was like
Mm-hmm.
her boobs were bursting
I
out
know at the
of that
top.
corset. I was like, oh my
That must
god, like.
hurt. Like it
But
has
I
to
think it's
hurt.
just such a cool way to wear a corset.
Yeah, and her sunglasses. She had these like cool red, like they
Yeah,
were really like wrap around kind of.
yeah. I mean, I think those outfits for me are the ones that like were killer outfits, pretty much. What about
Cool.
you? What about yours?
I have everyone at Juji Fruit's party. I especially love the two girls that are What and Ever.
Oh yeah,
One girl, the blonde girl, was on like a sitcom in the '90s when I used to watch them growing up, which is really funny. And then also the other girl on the left is in My So-Called Life. She's like one of the main characters in My So-Called Life, and it's just so funny that they're both like one is What and one is Ever, and they have this like weird plexiglass thing with condoms on it. Like
oh
it's really
yeah,
fucking
yeah.
weird. I just like that outfit. I love Juji Fruit. Gibby Haynes, like he's just a weirdie anyway, so I love his outfit. I love the outfits that everyone has when they're playing kick the can at the baseball field, and you see them all like lined up. And Mel
Oh
has that
yeah,
cool like red and blue like halter top thing, and then she has like
yeah. That is
the
actually really
bottom. That's
cool.
really
Yeah,
cool. Lucifer's outfits are really cool. Her Mel's girlfriend, when she has that purple wig when they go eat chow, and she has like purple wig or not chow, hole, because they call it
yeah,
chow. Then they were at the hole, and she has the purple wig, and she had those really cool like cat eye glasses. I love Heather Graham's satin dress that was like blue. It looked very like Gucci, like Tom Ford Gucci.
yeah.
Like it
Yeah,
probably
you're
wasn't,
right.
but it looked kind of like that kind of vibe. But she was just obviously way trashier. And then who else do I have? Yeah, Mel. I love Mel's lipstick at the Juji Fruits. It's like brown, and then she has like
Yeah, I
silver, and I love
I
her
hate
hair.
that about the 90s. I think
Yeah,
it's
I
just
just love
so
how 90s it was. I was like super 90s, and I love the twister overalls that match the wallpaper.
Yeah, no, that is really cool.
And then I
Yeah,
just love Dark's outfit. I love his like just plain black shirt, and I love his jeans.
he looks really handsome in the film.
Yeah, he looks super hot.
I mean, he is, but I don't know. His hair. I mean, he's just like everything.
Yeah, he looks really good. He also is in Donnie Darko too.
Yeah,
Yeah, so like
yeah.
he's
Oh God, which we have to do.
I know we still have to decide how we're gonna do this, because if Patreon's ever a thing that people want to pay for, then we'll have to review films from the 2000s. But in keeping with our 90s theme, we'll either have to do bonus episodes every now and again. We are gonna do one coming up on a film that was released in 2000, but it was filmed in 99, so that's how we're justifying it.
And we're gonna do one on someone really great.
Yeah.
Just like one actor, basically.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure that out. But I have a whole list of films from 2000 on, and Donnie Darko's on there for sure. There are a lot of films on there that we could do. Yeah, that's all I have for fashion. Let's get to favorite scenes.
Yes.
What are yours?
Okay, so the party scene, really, because it's like ecstasy pills, drinking, sex happening in the middle of the party. Cool silver Kusama inspired balls floating in the pool.
Yeah.
Like so maybe a lot of people don't know like who Kusama is. I don't know, but I mean you kind of
Yeah, I do.
like
Yeah.
But those, I swear, like those are the same balls that she makes in one of her installations. So like, and that was in the 60s. So I wouldn't be surprised if the
like
designer took it from there.
Yeah.
She did it 70s maybe, I don't know, but yeah, way before the 90s obviously. So I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, it was really
you can
cool.
see them for like a few seconds.
Yeah,
but that's my first one.
Oh, cool.
Just everything that happens there, like it's just very cool.
I have that too. Judy Fruit's party is one of my scenes, but so I'll skip to my other one. My favorite scene is the Valley Girls in the bus stop, because it's Tracy Lords, it's Rose McGowan, and Shannon Doherty. And they're just the most Valley of all Valley Girls. I just love that scene. Is the most iconic scene to me in the whole film, because that just screams LA. And they all have retainers. Like when the alien zaps them and just their retainers are left there. Like I just think it's so great. They're just super Valley Girls. So that's my favorite. I love their outfits too. They're all variations on each other. They all have these like bright baby doll dresses, and one's orange, one's red, and one's blue, and they have like the same matching barrettes in their hair that's all teased. Like that whole look is really cool. Like the three of them.
Help me to understand what a Valley Girl is.
Oh, okay. So Valley Girls are from the San Fernando Valley, which is right over the mountain, like the North Mountain Range in LA. So when you hear like Hollywood Hills, the other side of those hills is a valley, and that's the San Fernando Valley. And Valley Girls,
is it a good thing or is it a bad thing?
I guess it's kind of seen as kind of like it's kind of like a joke, the way that they talk, but it's been exaggerated. There was a film called Valley Girl, I believe. I'm gonna look it up now. I believe it was in the 80s. And I think it's like Nicolas Cage. Like, who's in that? There is actually a new one that they've just done, but there is an old one, which I'm trying to find. But they have a very, it's kind of like a dumb girl. Clueless is kind of, it's not Valley Girl because she's from Beverly Hills. But you know how when they go to that party and they're like, ugh, it's in the valley. Like, it's just, it's really far, it's really hot. That's where a lot of the porn was made in the 70s.
So it's not a very nice area.
Yeah, it's not horrible, though. It's not horrible, but it's not great, but it's seen as more of like a punchline. The whole Valley Girl talk and speak is seen as more of a punchline. And a very real thing, probably in the 90s. You don't really hear it now. I mean, I'm sure, there's a California accent, but I don't think it's as pronounced as it is in the film, and also as it was at that time, because it was kind of a novelty. I know, apparently, I've heard that.
You do. Like, when Matthew met you, he's like, oh, is she from LA? I'm like, nope.
Oh, well, you live there. Live there. I mean, I had obviously I've had different accents to different places that I've lived. I guess because, when I went to school in New York and I came back, I think maybe I'd been there for like 2 or 3 months, and my mom was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, what? What's so funny? And she's like, oh my gosh, you're saying coffee, and you're saying talk, like you're saying all this really, and it was more of a Long Island accent, because that's where I was going to school. But I also knew a lot of people from Jersey. I mean, everyone I was around all had this accent, almost everyone. So it was weird when I went there that they were kind of ragging on me for speaking, I guess, mid-Atlantic or whatever. But yeah, then I guess when I moved to California, I guess.
Because you were there for a long time.
Yeah.
So I suppose it makes sense. But I love your accent.
Oh, thanks. I love yours too. It's cool.
Oh, God. No. It's weird.
It's cool. Yeah, so the Valley Girls, that's one of my faves. Yeah, what's one of your other ones? Because I had Juji Fruits too,
Okay,
so.
so my second one, I mean, I mentioned it earlier, is the opening scene where
Yeah, it's so cool.
Dark is in the shower and he's fantasizing about Mel and is it Montgomery? I
Yeah.
think. Yeah,
Hmm.
right. Yeah, and then some other unknown person, I think, and
Those
yeah.
no the dominatrix people, the
Oh
SNL
yeah,
people.
right.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just think visually, but also what happens when his mom is like, "Get out,"
Yeah.
and then he's like, gets out the shower. You see his room, and then he drops his towel on the floor, and you. I think it's just, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. He's just stepping into
Into jeans.
yeah, and not wearing any underwear. I mean, like, why would you not wear
I
underwear?
think a lot of guys go commando.
I think that's gross, and it must
It's
be
gross.
uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like jeans,
We as
ugh.
women, I don't know people who
Could
do that.
never,
I
could
could
never,
never.
I could never.
I don't understand how
No,
it's not right. Like
I
it
mean, I know they were baggy, they weren't like fitted, but still.
yeah, but yeah, still. It's no. It's
Yeah,
just
so that's my second one.
cool.
What's yours?
My last one is just I just love the end with the credits. And that
Oh
the
yeah,
song, Love is
I knew you
Stronger
were
Than
gonna say
Death. Yeah,
that.
I just
Yeah.
love it. I mean, there are a lot of things I like, but the thing is, it's hard to find scenes that I like because so many things are like really disturbing. So I don't want to necessarily say that I like them, as in I want to do that or think that it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
But I like a lot of I guess I just like a lot of the weirdness and the way it was shot and just yeah, but a lot of them are just really disturbing. I mean, a lot of the film is just kind of really disturbing. So the only either you're gonna like the violent parts or you're gonna like when everyone's getting their weird kink shit. So it's like, yeah, I like that guy getting the shit ripped out of his nipples. I'll do that. I don't
Oh
care. Like,
God.
like
Yeah.
I just
Ugh,
don't
that
know
was
why anyone would
uncomfortable.
ever want to do that. So that's I don't like the scene, but I like it because it's Debbie Mazar. You know what I mean? Because I know her so well
I
from
know
everything
she.
else she's been in. So I just
I
think it's
feel
kind of
like that
funny.
is kind of who she is in real life. I'm
Yeah,
not saying
she
she is,
seems
but
like
she
it.
kind of gives that impression. She's like
Mm-hmm. She's like this
not to be messed
badass
with.
kind of, yeah, she just always
Yeah,
dresses like
and like she's kind of
sarcastic.
kinky. Yeah.
She started out as Madonna's hairstylist. Isn't that crazy?
I know.
Yeah, isn't that
It's
crazy? So
crazy. It's
cool.
crazy.
Oh yeah, that's all I have for favorite, and then I have worst ones.
Yeah.
My worst scenes. What are
Cool.
yours? I have
Okay.
two.
I have two as well.
I wonder if they're the same.
I doubt it, but okay. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, so LB's killing that guy at the party.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he just gets, I mean, to be honest, from when he's having sex with his girlfriend, he just seems like a sick fuck.
Yeah, oh
Like
yeah.
he's
He's
like
weird.
kind of he's gonna be really weird, and then you see him killing that guy, and he's getting kind of like a kick out of
Yeah,
it.
he's like getting off on it and like
I'm like,
laughing.
ugh, that was kind of like,
And Dark is like trying to stop him, and then Alyssa is like, you know, she's like, "Oh my god, Elvis!" It's just
yeah, he's just really like disturbing. I find like his aura, everything about him is kind of like no. That's one of mine.
okay.
What's your?
One of my worst scenes is Egg being raped by Jason Simmons from
Yeah, but
Baywatch.
that's yeah.
Yeah,
I know.
that one I was just
But
like,
you told me that
no.
was gonna be, so I didn't put my
Yeah, that was one of mine. What's your other
my
one?
other one. You're gonna think is random, but
What?
I just think it's really gross. Okay, so the scene where there is a plate of food that's been left
Oh yeah.
for several days, if not weeks, in Dark's room.
Yeah.
Basically, he steps on it like much later, but it's actually more like just looking at it the first
That's
time
gross.
because it has so much fungus
I
that that
know.
plate is like a world of its
I
own,
know.
and I only find it like extremely disturbing because that kind of happened to my friend. So like
What?
when we lived together, this is like my best friend, she was like really messy, like
Yeah.
she would have like a pile of clothes everywhere for days, and like she would collect all these mugs in her bathroom, and like basically sometimes we'll be getting ready to go out to a party or whatever, and I'd be coming into her room, and I'll see this mug in the corner, like one of 5. And I'm like, what is that? I'm like, this is so gross. Like, she left maybe like some cereal, like with milk,
Ew.
for days. And it was so, I mean, honestly, I said this back then, and it really reminded me of, like, I'm like, that I can see little people living in that mug already, because it is just how much bacteria and like life growing.
Did it smell?
No, it didn't smell, but it wasn't like a lot of milk, but it was like a tiny bit of milk and cereal, and it was so disgusting. Like, and so what happened was, she was like, she thought it was funny, and she left it there, and we forgot about it. We went out. We had this like, we went on a huge bender of like 3 days, like partying.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we came back on the Sunday, we were lying down, and I, by accident, knocked it down, and the whole thing fell on the carpet, and it was just so, I didn't step on it, but I was like, I almost puked, because it just looked so disgusting on the carpet, and then we couldn't get rid of it, like, you know, it was stained and everything. So I think that's why it's one of my worst scenes, because it reminds me of that. It happens. This is true.
Yeah,
like, people leave shit in their bedrooms. Like,
oh God, I couldn't. My last worst scene was just the death and suicide of Bart and Egg. Like, how it was shot, and just like the way they were watching that televangelist on the TV.
yeah.
And these like traumatic things that happen. Like, Bart's got this insane drug addiction. His boyfriend's like he's in the band with his boyfriend, Cowboy, and Cowboy's just over it, and he just feels like, you know, no one, you know, he's just like super lost. You don't really see him much, but what you do see of him, you're just like, oh gosh, this poor guy. And then just the way that they show their like, and then also Egg too. I mean, like, her story was just so like awful.
I know, because she's so sweet.
Yeah,
and innocent.
I was just like, oh no. So those are my worst ones.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And yeah, I have some quotes. You said you didn't have any.
Yeah, I actually didn't have any.
I have a ton, but I mean, not a ton, but I'll just do a few. One of my favorites is, I'd rather have my ball hairs burned off with an acetylene torch. That one's pretty good. That's dark. And then I like when when Elvis picks up Alyssa, and then she's like, later, tater tots.
Yeah, I mean,
I like
sorry.
that.
Yeah. No, I feel like it's more about the interaction between him and is it called Lucifer?
Yeah.
The girl, the friend. Because
like,
they hate each other's guts, and there's a lot of like, you're stupid, you know, like that gross. Kind of thing.
And she's always like correcting him. I love when
she says like, you don't know how to.
Yeah, he said, like, I think something's gonna happen to me, like a prenomination. And she's like, you mean premonition? And he's like, whatever. She's like, no, I don't understand how you can have one if you can't even pronounce the friggin' word.
Yeah, no, that was funny.
And he's like, I am gonna lose my temper, Lucifer, and I am gonna deck you. And she's like, you guys. And she's like throwing stuff at him. It's really funny. I have, I love when Zero says to Mina Suvari, you're our favorite person in this whole wide scuzz bucket world. I like that one. And then I like just the beginning of the soundtrack, which is cool because it's the beginning of the film where it says LA is like nowhere, everyone who lives here is lost.
That's really cool.
Then my last one is, tell her the Atari say, thanks for the bitchin' wheels, bitch. When they carjack Zero. And then they laugh. That weird street gang. The Atari gang. That's all I have for my quotes. But you didn't have any.
No, I didn't. Yeah.
Oh, there's so many good ones. I don't even know what I'm going to title this episode. I think it might be, it's either Later Tater Tots. I really like Later Tater Tots. It's got to be something small.
Yeah, that is cool, actually.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool. What are your most 90s moments? I already said one of them.
I don't have moments. I have things.
Oh, yeah. Okay, what are things?
Mary Jane shoes and mini skirts.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with Mary Jane shoes, as you know. And
yeah, they're cool. I can't wear them, but they're really cool.
I love them. There's nothing I love more in this world like chunky heels like that. Like, I'm not into the whole stiletto kind of shoe, you know.
Yeah, I can't walk in those. They're just not practical.
I just don't. It's not really my
Oh, you
thing.
just don't like how
you
it
know?
looks, like visually.
On me,
Oh
it's
yeah.
too sexy, too glammy.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
like
it's
it.
not. It's not me at all.
I mean, if I do the like a kitten heel, it's nothing crazy, like Labutang or anything like that. It's not my style. But like Mary Jane shoes are super cool, and I love because I'm short, right? So I love like a short skirt or dress because it
Don't make sure legs look
compensate
longer.
for my short legs. Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
What are yours?
My 90s moment, well, one of them was already, it was people talking and contacting each other on landlines. That was just super
Oh yeah.
90s. My other moment is very LA specific to the 90s. It's when Dark mentions at the Hole that I think Cowboy's like, oh, what are you going to do? And he's like, oh, will you drive me by Aaron's? I'm going to go pick up some CDs. Aaron's was a huge cultural landmark
Cool.
store in LA. It closed in 2005. Unfortunately, I never got to go
sad.
there. Yeah, I think it was around for like 40 years, but it was a big deal. And when he says that, it's like makes it very like LA specific. And then I think later on he's talking to Dark's talking to Handjob at Juji Fruit's party, and Handjob was like, oh man, how's your day? And he's like, oh, I spent $387 on CDs at Aaron's. Like he mentions it again, and then he's like, oh, what CDs did you buy? And then that's when Elvis comes and attack him, and I was like, damn it, I wanted to know what CDs Dark bought.
Yeah, that would have been
mad.
cool.
Yeah, if he
I'm
was like,
surprised they
"Bought
didn't
this
add it
and
on there.
this."
It would
Yeah.
be cool to just mention some of the bands.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, I actually do have one.
Oh,
Thinking
okay.
about it, I really like it when they Dark, Mel, and Lucifer like leave the cafe thing,
Mhm.
and they're in Mel's convertible,
Mhm.
and they just it feels very 90s, like driving a convertible in
Yeah.
LA, and
Bikini Kill in the
Dark
front.
is yeah, and he has his cam recorder.
Mhm.
That's like a very 90s thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, like yeah, I wish I had one.
I know. I
But I was
still
too
wish I
young,
had
I
one.
guess.
Yeah, I
But
still wish I had one like that now.
I know.
Like just
Yeah.
finding one that like the compatibility and like being able to edit it. It's just, like it's a lot of work that I just don't know if I can get into. But yeah, that's all I have for the film.
What about music?
We did music. You want to talk about it some more?
With these?
Yeah,
When?
we talked about it.
Well, briefly.
Oh
but
yeah,
then
well let's go
I
back to
guess.
it.
Well, no, just one comment.
Yeah, let's make a comment. I love
I felt
everything
like
on that soundtrack.
to me the soundtrack was like British indie rock
Yeah.
invasion. I was like,
I wrote shoegaze, metal, and Britpop.
yeah. Well, Britpop, but not really. I mean, I suppose.
Well,
But
Blur.
it's like
Blur's in. I like when they
Blur,
play
Blur, and Elastica, but it's
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I guess they are, but they do have some really cool, moody songs. I feel like for me, my favorite was like Chemical Brothers
Mm-hmm.
and Massive Attack. But then obviously you have like Suede, Radiohead, James, another really great British band, and
Lush?
yeah.
Isn't Lush on there? Or is Lush and Doom Generation?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, that's Doom Generation.
Maybe, but I don't recall. I think like it's quite interesting that like his music choice for the film, because it's it's really moody, beautiful music that could have only been inspired by like rainy England. So like the fact that he's using this music in like for his film in LA, like it's just interesting, like
it's pretty cool. Oh, Lush is on there. I have the moon.
It is.
Yeah,
oh, cool.
yeah. I was gonna say I know Lush is on there, and obviously Hole.
Oh well, Hole. Yeah.
Dick now.
I think I'm just more focused on the British band because I mean I like Hole and I like all the other songs, but I feel like those bands to me stand out because I love Massive Attack.
I love Catherine Wheel.
Oh,
I'm a big Catherine Wheel fan too.
So good.
It's really good.
It's everything.
Yeah, he's really great at the soundtracks, I have to say.
He is.
Yeah, and even throughout his other films, like if you see other ones, they're all great. They're so good. Mysterious Skin's another one that will have to
I
be
need to watch that.
Yeah, it might have to be a bonus, but that one is like the score it's so beautiful. He has like a lot of Sigur Rós in there, and the guy from Cocteau Twins like does the score. It's great. Yeah, it's really great. But cool. Do you have any other notes or additions?
I don't.
This is exciting. I'm excited that we talked for an hour and 20 minutes because
did we?
Yeah, I could talk
Oh,
about
wow.
this forever. So I'm excited.
I feel like we talked for like 45 minutes.
I know.
but,
Well, I'm excited that you
mean-
liked it because it's really weird, and I feel like it's kind of my duty to show this film to people who
I
will
like
like it.
weird.
Because I was
I
like, you'll
definitely
like
like
weird.
weird.
Yeah, you'll like
Yeah.
weird. So, yeah, it's really cool. Well, this was super fun, and yeah, I guess we will see you on the next one.
Yeah, see you.
Bye.
Bye.